Welcome back to Sharp Sports Media. And today the New York Mets, they defeat the Miami Marlins by a score of 3-2. Taijuan Walker has himself a gem, going 6 2/3, giving up 2 hits and 1 earned run. Lindor has a 2-run bomb in the third, and that's his second home run in 2 days. So let's get into this game. Now, the Mets just came off a big win versus the Marlins last night, putting up a 10 spot on the Marlins. So I wanted to see how they would react to that. How do you follow up such a big performance against a good pitcher who's having a great year in Pablo Lopez? And they did not disappoint. They kind of did the same thing that they did against Lopez, and it's been their MO for quite a while now. They attack early. They want to score early. They are going after pitches early. And they did that again in this game, scoring all their runs early. In the second, you got the Jeff McNeil single that put up the first run, scored Canna. And then in the third inning, you have Lindor's bomb. I mean, he just looked so relaxed, especially with Buck Showalter said that he hopes his mother stays, as his mother came to New York yesterday for the first time to see him play as a New York Met at Citi Field, and he has just looked a bit different since his mother has came to Citi Field. He just looks calmer in the box, and he even said he is, because his mom is his rock, basically. He just looks calmer in the box, and on the field, he's made a spectacular play in both games. He feels centered now, and I'm not saying he hasn't been playing well this year, because that's not what I'm trying to say. He's still putting up numbers. I mean, there's a reason he's top 5 in the league in RBI for a reason. He's having a good year, but I think it gives him an extra calmness, an extra deep breath that he can just take and really just focus on the game. He knows what he has to do. He knows he's got his people behind him, and he's just ready to go. And there's no reason why I wouldn't. If I was Steve Cohen and the Mets, I'm buying Mama Lindor a house in Queens or in New York. We're getting her a house, and she's staying here because she would be a huge help, I think, to Lindor, who is really one of the backbones of this team. Then you also have Taijuan Walker, who, again, said I pitched himself a gem, went 6 2/3, only gave up 1 earned run and 2 hits, 97 pitches. ERA now sits at 2.88, had 9 Ks, only 1 walk in the outing, and he looked really good. Didn't really give up a lot of hard hits as well. The only 2 hits came with in the first inning. His first batter, he gave up a single to Birdie, who, oh my God, Birdie, this guy was stealing bases left and right. It was definitely a little frustrating to see this guy just being able to, if he got on base, he was able to get to second or even third, because of the amount of times Nito would overthrow it or get it into the outfield. It happened, I think, at least 2 times. So that was a bit frustrating. I definitely don't want to see us or other teams taking advantage of Nito or Mazika. They need to show off their guns, their arms, and make sure that teams can't steal on us. So they just need to. It allows such ease. You only need a single instead of a double. Extra base hits. Playing small ball is something that we do so well, and I don't want to. I want to limit as much as possible the other team. So that is I'd say the only concern I really came out of this game with. Walker, like I said, only gave up that hit in the first inning, first batter, and the next hit that he gave up was in the 7th, as he walks Chisholm, and then Garcia goes to the double, and just Chisholm scores, and he's taken out of the game. And then they bring in Drew Smith to get the final out. But overall, solid performance from Walker. I think he's starting to look more and more like the first half Walker that we saw last year, that all-star Walker that we really could use in the back end of this rotation. I mean, his ERA currently is sitting at a... Sorry, we had a little technical difficulties, but we are not going to let us that stop us here. And as I was saying, Walker's ERA currently at a 2.88. The biggest thing is his Ks per nine are only at 6.7, but having 9 strikeouts and really starting to get those KO pitches down, those breaking balls, whether it be the slider or the changeup, to really get the swing and misses, is really starting to come on its own. And you're really starting to see the Taijuan Walker we saw in the first half of last season, which gave him his all-star berth. And that is something that could be really huge, especially with McGill now being shut down for 4 weeks. And I know people are really excited about Scherzer and DeGrom. And don't get me wrong, I am so hyped for DeGo and Mad Max to come back, but you still got probably at least 3 weeks to a month for them to come back. So you still are going to have a couple more starts from them. And even still being in that back end of a rotation, if you want to beat those top teams, you need to have the depth. Because if you don't think there's going to be any injuries in the second half of the year, knock on wood, there won't be, but you got to be prepared for that. And having guys that could step up and still be solid guys in the back end of that rotation is absolutely huge for this Mets team. But as you go in, like I said, Lindor having his second home run and how he's looked so calm. But it's not just everybody steps up in this lineup. And that's what you need to see in a winning success lineup. Because this is a game where you're coming in, in the 9th inning, Diaz, lets up a hit, and, there's the guys come on base. Birdie singles, he steals second, gets to third, no outs. This is a game the Mets lose 9 out of 10 times in the past 4 or 5 years. But, again, like I keep saying on Twitter before this YouTube channel, but now I will continue to say on the record with my face on it, this team is just different. They find ways to win instead of finding ways to lose. And that is probably the biggest characteristic difference for winning teams and losing teams. In these tight crunch time or crunch moment situations where your back is against the wall, momentum's turned against you, everything is not looking in your favor, can you find a way to still pull out victories? And the Mets this year have been able to do that compared to other years where they find ways to lose these games, which is such a huge difference. I mean, you strike out Jazz Chisholm. He ends up getting thrown out. It was definitely inside that fastball. But hey, you're gonna take what you can get. He's their best offensive player. Was it a bit inside? Yes. But you know what? At the end of the day, you're going to have some good calls against you. You're going to have some bad calls against you. You take what you can get. And a fastball like that, you know what? You'll take it. Then you move on. You strike probably their second best offensive player, Soler. Strike him out. And you do let up a Cooper single, but you're up 2. So you can afford that. You're looking to not give up a home run there. It's just not tie the game. You're kind of looking to knock him out with just no home run. If he gets a single, if he gets on base, you know what? Soft contact, whatever. We could come back to the next guy, and that's exactly what he did, striking out Garcia. Edwin Diaz has just looked so much better this year. And he's a free agent this year, so he can command a lot of money, but he has looked like the closer that we traded for from Seattle. So far this year, 27 innings pitched, 20 hits, 7 earned runs for a 2.3 earned run average. He has a 17.5 Ks per 9. 17.5. He's striking out over 40% of the batters he has faced. Absolutely ridiculous. He's walked 10 batters. A little high, but you're gonna, when you got that kind of stuff that he does, when he doesn't have it, he's gonna walk a few. But as long as you can strike out batters and limit the home run ball, he's only given up 2 so far this year, which is pretty solid. I can take that. A walk once in a while, then you're gonna strike the next guy out. When you got that kind of stuff, I can live with that. This season, Diaz has been everything that you've kind of wanted from him. And when he doesn't get a save, I think it was a couple weeks ago where he blew a save. People were, this is the old Diaz, blah, 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 blah. He's a bum. You're not going to make every single save. You're not going to. Diaz is going. There's always going to be Mets fans that think Diaz is a bum, that he can't pitch, that he's not a closer guy, because they're just going to be scarred from when his first year was here, that he can't handle it. But you have to move on. You have to take season by season. You have to look at it big picture and not just, because of what he did on his first year as a New York Met, that's what he's going to always be labeled as. And that's how some fans have it. But if you look at this year, he has been everything you can ask for. He could even get an all-star appearance. That's how good he's been as our closer. Overall, the Mets now look to close out the series with the Marlins in tomorrow's game. The pitcher for that let's look at the pitching matchup for that game. I believe they are going to have, let's pull that up. It's going to be Alcantara and Bassett. So Alcantara is obviously their best pitcher. I think he's one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball, currently sitting at a 1.6 ERA. Bassett had his best start of the year, his last outing. He's sitting at a 4.1 ERA, but he's starting, hopefully he can continue on this trend. As Marcana said, he wasn't looking like himself. He was really shaking off a lot of pitches that the catchers were giving him. He just didn't look like he had a correct rhythm. And last outing, it looked perfect. He looked in sync with his catcher. He just looked like he was dialed in, ready for the moment, and hopefully he can continue that. Game is supposed to take place at 1:40 tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, subscribe. If you want to follow me on Twitter to see when I'm tweeting my takes, I'm at Twitter on jsharf_1216. Instagram jsharf1216. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the other side.